You don't need a mansion or a Hollywood name to leave behind a story that's more than just fame.
To need a will, just a family, or a cat plotting world domination. Welcome to Celebrity Estate Chaos, where we prove a lot of things. Like how estate chaos isn't just for millionaires with private islands, anyone with stuff, relatives, or that one weird collection you think nobody's fighting over. And chances are, they will. Anyone.
If you think cyber attacks are always, these dramatic, direct hits aimed right at your company's front door, well, you might be missing one of the biggest, most insidious threats out there today.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about supply chain attacks. And based on the research and articles you shared for this deep dive, it's really clear these aren't your typical hoodie hackers hammering away in a basement.
No, not at all. It's far more subtle than that.
Yeah, it's like buying a perfectly good loaf of bread, only finding out later the bakery accidentally mixed in something nasty, or maybe ordering a salad and the dressing got swapped for, I don't know, battery acid. You didn't invite the hacker in, your vendor did, totally unaware.
Exactly. That's a great analogy.
So our mission today is really to unpack what these supply chain attacks are, why they're just so dangerous, and critically, what we can actually do about them. And this isn't just for the IT pros listening. This stuff affects everyone.
Right. And a really critical point here is how these attacks exploit trust. I mean, trust at the deepest level. They're kind of like digital termites, hollowing things out from the inside before you even notice.
Digital termites. I like that.
Yeah, they leverage the very connections, the dependencies we all rely on for modern business. And this isn't some rare thing anymore. These attacks, they're definitely on the rise, and they operate at a huge industrial scale. It's a major threat across the board.
Okay, so let's dive into that. What makes these supply chain attacks fundamentally scarier, maybe more effective than a direct hack attempt?
Well, the core reason is really their exponential danger. Think about it. Attackers compromise just one vendor, right? But that single breach can then ripple outwards. It can affect thousands, maybe even millions of that vendor's customers all at once.
Wow. So one hit, many victims.
Precisely. And if you connect this to the bigger picture, it's our interconnectedness, our growing reliance on all these third-party vendors, open source code. That's what creates such a massive attack surface.
Right. Everything's linked.
Everything's linked. So the impact isn't just, a cybersecurity problem for one company. It quickly becomes a critical business continuity issue. It threatens operations, data, customer trust for potentially countless organizations, all stemming from that one single point of failure.
It really drives home that idea.
Yeah.
Modern business is only as secure as its weakest supplier.
That's it. Exactly.
So that trust point is huge. It makes you wonder then, how do these invisible termites actually get in? The material you shared suggests there's almost a playbook they follow.
There really is. And the playbook, well, it's surprisingly straightforward, but brutally effective. It usually starts with them picking a popular vendor.
The bigger the better, I guess.
The more customers, the better, yeah. Think of a really widely used software library, or maybe an installer, an update mechanism people trust.
Okay, find a popular target. What's next?
Next, they look for a weak link within that vendor system. And this is often something pretty mundane.
Like what?
Could be a stolen password, an unpatched system they forgot about, or honestly, sometimes just one distracted employee making a mistake. A human error.
So find a crack in the armor.
Find the crack. Once they're in, they insert their malicious code. And they're clever about it. They hide it inside what looks like a legitimate software update or a library file. Or sometimes they inject it directly into the vendor's build pipelines, those automated systems that compile and deliver the software.
So it gets baked right in.
Baked right in. And then comes the really sneaky part. They just let the vendor do the rest of the work.
What do you mean?
The compromised vendor, completely unaware, pushes out this malicious code as part of a regular update or a new software package. Customers download it, install it, because they trust the source.
Of course. It's coming from vendor X.
Okay.
Must be fine.
Exactly. And then finally, the hackers cash out. That could mean stealing data, launching ransomware across all those infected customers, or maybe just setting up quiet backdoors for, later chaos, further exploitation down the line.
It sounds incredibly efficient from their perspective. Low effort, high reward almost.
That's absolutely why it's so attractive to them. It's the efficiency and the scalability. They get this like bulk deal on victims for relatively little direct effort compared to hacking each one individually.
A Costco-sized value pack of victims.
Kinda, yeah. They're exploiting that inherent trust we all place in our software providers, in the digital infrastructure that underpins pretty much everything we do now. It's a systemic vulnerability, and when they exploit it, the damage just ripples outwards across whole industries.
To really get a sense of the impact, maybe we should look at some real-world examples. Let's explore 5 cases from the material you provided. These really show how creative and, frankly, terrifying these attacks can be.
Ugh.
You almost have to laugh if it wasn't so painful for the victim.
Yeah, looking at the case studies really brings it home.
Okay, first up, let's talk SolarWinds.
Yeah.
This was back in 2020. What happened there?
Right, SolarWinds. So attackers managed to slip malicious code into the updates for their Orion software, which is a major IT monitoring tool used by tons of organizations.
And the impact.
Huge. This tainted update got installed by over 18,000 organizations. We're talking major corporations, government agencies.
Wow. So it's like inviting the whole neighborhood for a BBQ and finding out the hot dogs you bought came preloaded with spyware.
Yeah, pretty much. Free malware delivered right alongside your legitimate IT tool. It really showed how one compromised vendor could lead to this widespread infiltration, letting attackers get deep inside very sensitive networks.
Okay, nightmare number 1. What about Kaseya in 2021?
Kaseya was another big one. Hackers hijacked an IT management tool called VSA, which is used by managed service providers, MSPs, to manage their client systems. They used it to push out ransomware.
To the MSP's clients.
Exactly. So hundreds of businesses, mostly small and medium-sized ones, got hit with ransomware almost simultaneously right over a holiday weekend, I think.
Oh, man. It was like a ransomware piñata. You hit the MSP and ransom notes rained down on all their customers.
That's a good way to put it. It really highlighted the immediate disruptive power of supply chain ransomware. How a tool meant for efficiency could be weaponized to just cripple businesses instantly.
Okay, moving forward to 2023, we had MOVEit. What was the deal there?
MOVEit was about a flaw, a zero-day vulnerability in a very popular secure file transfer tool. Attackers found this flaw and used it to steal massive amounts of data from thousands of organizations that used the tool.
So data theft, not ransomware this time.
Primarily data theft and extortion, yes. And the victims were often kind of innocent bystanders. They weren't directly targeted. They just happened to use this piece of software.
It's like catching food poisoning from the dip at an office potluck. You didn't make it, you just ate it.
Right. Or maybe like your uncle grabbing the last slice of pie at Thanksgiving when you weren't looking. It showed how quickly a single flaw in a widely used utility could lead to data breaches on a global scale.
Okay, 4th case. Log4j. This one sounds persistent. Started in 2021.
Oh, Log4j. Yeah, this one was, and frankly is, a nightmare. Log4j is this really common, kind of boring open source logging library used in, well, seemingly everything Java-based.
A logging library.
Yeah.
Sounds harmless.
You'd think. But a critical vulnerability was found called Log4Shell that basically allowed attackers to take over systems remotely with very little effort. And because this library was embedded so deeply in so many applications,
It was everywhere.
everywhere, finding and patching it became this massive ongoing effort. Businesses are still dealing with it years later. It's like finding out a specific type of bolt used in millions of cars and buildings has a flaw, and now you have to find and replace every single one.
Playing whack-a-mole with dynamite?
Pretty much. It starkly exposed the risks hidden inside the open source components we all rely on.
Okay, finally, let's look ahead slightly, or maybe reflect on a type of attack. The NPM attack, referencing incidents up to 2025 in our materials. What's this about? JavaScript packages.
Right. NPM is the package manager for Node.js, the world of JavaScript development. Think of it like an app store for code components developers use to build websites and applications.
Okay.
Attackers started targeting the maintainers of popular NPM packages, often through phishing, tricking them into giving up their account credentials. Then the attackers would publish malicious updates to these widely used packages.
So they poison the well.
Exactly. Millions of developers then unknowingly download and install this poisoned code as part of their normal workflow. It gets built right into countless websites and apps.
It was their goal.
Stealing cryptocurrency wallets, grabbing user credentials, setting up backdoors. It was like the ultimate software prank, except instead of a digital whoopee cushion, it caused real financial and data loss. Developers learned a hard lesson. Trust, but verify. or maybe just cry a little. It really highlighted that human element in open source security. Compromise one key person, and you can impact millions.
Okay, these examples are intense, but it's important, like you said, to differentiate these supply chain attacks from, let's call them the classic cyber stuff we still see all the time.
Absolutely. Because not every hack is a supply chain attack, right?
Right. We still see plenty of direct attacks.
Yeah, the classics, like phishing, trying to trick you directly into clicking a bad link or giving up your password, the Bank of America emails.
Or ransomware hitting your servers directly.
Exactly. Digital kidnapping of your data. Or credential stuffing, using stolen passwords from one breach to try logging into other sites. DDoS attacks flooding your website. Even insider threats disgruntled employees.
And just straight up breaches where they find a way into your network, like the Target breach through an HVAC vendor, or Colonial Pipeline with that one leaked password, or Equifax missing a critical patch. Those were direct, even if sometimes facilitated by a third-party connection point.
Right. The core difference, and what's fascinating here, is the vector and the intent. Classic attacks often target you or your organization directly. They can be messy, noisy sometimes. Okay.
Supply chain attacks are more subtle, more insidious. They often bypass your direct defenses entirely by going after a trusted third party, a software vendor, a code library, a service provider. They compromise that entity first.
And then ride that trust relationship in.
Precisely. The damage comes later, often silently. After that compromised update or software has been widely distributed and installed, it spreads like gossip in a small town. Compromise one key source, and suddenly everyone connected is potentially affected.
That distinction is really key. And digging through the materials for this deep dive, there were some fascinating insights, things most people probably don't realize about these attacks.
Yeah, some surprising aspects. For instance, we touched on it with Kaseya, but attackers love holidays and weekends.
When the IT team might be thinner on the ground.
Exactly. SolarWinds also unfolded over a period that included holidays. They exploit those predictable times of reduced vigilance. It's a tactical move.
That's smart, in a devious way. But it also connects to another point. This malicious code, it can hide for a long time, right? Months, even years. That's right. It's not always an immediate smash and grab. The malicious code might just sit there dormant inside legitimate software updates, like sleeper agents.
Waiting to be activated.
Waiting for the signal. This long dwell time makes detection incredibly difficult. You might be compromised long before you ever realize it.
And you mentioned open source earlier. That seems like a recurring theme, a high-risk area.
Definitely. Open source projects are critical infrastructure now, but many are maintained by volunteers, often unpaid, maybe overworked. They become these incredibly valuable targets, the crown jewels, almost, for attackers looking for a single point of compromise that affects millions.
It's not just big software either, is it? What about all our smart devices, IoT stuff?
Oh, absolutely. Your smart toaster, your coffee machine, maybe even your fridge. They're running software too. Often it's based on older libraries that might not get patched regularly, if ever.
So they're like little neon hack me signs on your network.
Potentially, yes. It's a direct supply chain issue. The manufacturer is the supplier of that device and its software, and if they don't keep it updated or use vulnerable components, you inherit that risk. The updates often just don't happen.
And ultimately, underneath a lot of this, it comes back to people, doesn't it?
It really does. The human factor is huge. It's not just about users clicking bad links, though that's still a problem. It's that one careless click, maybe one reused password by a developer or an employee inside a trusted vendor. That single action can open the door to compromise millions downstream.
So it's not always super sophisticated code breaking.
Often, no. It's about exploiting predictable human behavior or finding those overlooked bits of infrastructure, maybe within the extended supply chain. The weakest link might not even be your direct software supplier. It could be, I don't know, your payroll provider, the company that services your printers, or that file transfer app everyone uses. Attackers look for the path of least resistance, and it's often not where you're looking hardest.
That's a sobering thought, but also kind of empowering, maybe, because it means there are things we can do. So what does this all mean for you listening? The good news, I think, is you don't need a PhD in cybersecurity to avoid being part of the problem. Small changes can make a big difference.
Absolutely. Awareness is the first step.
So for everyone listening, basic hygiene, right? First up, multi-factor authentication, MFA, everywhere you can enable it.
Yes. Crucial.
Yeah, might add an extra step sometimes, maybe annoy staff a little. But it is so worth it. It's like having a second really strong lock on your digital door.
Mm-hmm. A huge barrier for attackers.
Second, get a password manager.
Right.
Please stop reusing passwords. Password 123 or company name fall 2024 is basically just rolling out the welcome mat for hackers.
It really is. Unique, strong passwords for everything.
Third, update your software. Don't keep hitting remind me later on those patch notifications forever. That update you ignore. That could be the very backdoor hackers are looking for.
Patches exist for a reason, usually to fix vulnerabilities they already know about.
Fourth, back up your data regularly. And ideally, keep a copy offline somewhere, so if ransomware does hit, they can't hold your precious photos or your company's critical files hostage.
An offline backup is ransomware's worst enemy.
And finally, just cultivate a healthy suspicion of weird emails and links. If it looks sketchy, if it seems too good to be true, if it's written like a cat walked across the keyboard, just don't click it. Pause and think.
Those basics cover a lot of ground for individuals. But for businesses, the question gets bigger. How do you secure your whole digital supply chain?
Right, because you can do everything right internally, but still get hit through a vendor.
Exactly. So vendor vetting becomes critical. It can't be optional anymore. You need to know who has access to what their security practices are like, maybe require security compliance certifications, demand digitally signed software updates.
What about that SBOM thing you mentioned, the software bill of materials?
Yes, SBOMs are becoming increasingly important. It's essentially a detailed list, like an ingredients list, for software. It tells you all the components, including open source libraries that make up an application. This helps you track potential vulnerabilities inherited from those components.
So you know what's actually in the software you're using.
Precisely. Network segmentation is also key inside your own environment. Don't let attackers, if they do get in through one door, have a free run of your entire digital office. Contain the blast radius.
Makes sense. And employee education.
Always vital. Your employees are often your first line of defense, but they can also be the biggest risk if they're not aware. Continuous training matters.
Okay, and what about the developers out there listening? Any specific advice for them?
Oh, absolutely. For the developers,
Right.
please rotate your access tokens and API keys regularly. Don't leave them lying around. Sign your code commits and software artifacts digitally so people can verify they haven't been tampered with. And for the love of all that is holy, stop hard-coding passwords and secret keys directly into your code, especially if you're putting it on GitHub.
Seems obvious, but it still happens, huh?
Way too often. These simple hygiene practices can prevent massive downstream problems that start in the development lifecycle.
Okay, so bringing this all together,
Yeah.
what this deep dive really shows is that these supply chain attacks, they're like those invisible termites we talked about. They exploit trust, the very foundation of how we operate online at the deepest level. And yeah, some of the stories might sound darkly funny in hindsight, but the impact is incredibly real, often devastating.
Very real.
So whether you're running a Fortune 500 company or just trying to keep your side hustle website online, understanding these risks, it's just critical now.
It really is. And ultimately, awareness combined with proactive prevention, doing those basics, vetting your vendors, securing your code, that's the only real cure. The more you know, the more prepared you are, the less likely you are to be frantically Googling how to negotiate with ransomware hackers at 3 a.m.
Yeah, nobody wants that. The truly scary thought, maybe the final one, is that you can do everything right inside your own walls. But if, say, your electricity provider gets hit through their software vendor, you're still potentially vulnerable.
That's the interconnectedness challenge right there.
Because in this hyper-connected world, protecting one link in the chain really does help protect the whole digital fence. So yes, maybe your smart toaster should care about security updates, and you definitely should too.
Well said.
Want more insights like this, maybe with a bit more humor and less jargon? You can dive into more deep dives on cybersecurity and cryptocurrency with us right here on YouTube and Spotify.
Stay informed, stay safe.
And if you're looking for practical tools and guides to prepare for chaos, whether it's a cyber incident like we've discussed, or even things like natural disasters, check out author Tina Jin's emergency preparedness books. You can find them in the bookstore link. Because let's face it, hackers might love surprises, but your business and your family definitely don't.
That's a wrap for today's chaos. If you learned something, laughed a little, or now feel slightly more prepared for life's curveballs, we've done our job. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media. Catch us on Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere podcasts make you rethink your to-do list. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, If it's important and unexpected, we probably cover it. Stay safe, stay curious, and we'll see you next time.